The investigation of 3407 opened a window into the lives of regional pilots, where the work is hard and the days are long, says former Colgan pilot Chris Wyken.
It's challenging. It's very challenging. A lot of short routes, a lot of takeoffs, a lot of landings, and going in and out of bad weather, being down low, especially at Colgan, flying the turboprops. You're not flying above the weather, you're flying in the weather. 8, 9, 10 flights a day. It gets to be a very long day.
While FAA regulations limit pilots to 8 hours of actual flight time a day, pilots may be on duty for up to 16 hours a day. But that doesn't mean a big paycheck.
You are only paid when the door's closed and the engines are running. As soon as we block out of the gate, we close that door. That's when we start. All the time we're walking through airports, eating lunch, reading a book while we wait for airplanes standing at the gate. We're not paid for that time. We may be on duty for 80 hours a week and get paid for 20 of it, if we're lucky.
Pilots are paid hourly, and starting pay for first officers is typically $21 an hour.
My first year I made a little over $22,000 gross.
To make ends meet, many pilots choose to commute, living in less expensive communities, far from the base they fly from. Commuting has always been a part of aviation. But if you're making $16,000 or $18,000 a year and you're commuting, you're sleeping on the Barca lounger and the pilot's lounge. And that's not good, is it?
Let's get the facts out on the table on this, Mile. The average salary for a regional airline captain is $73,000. The average salary for a first officer at a regional airline is about $32,000, $33,000 a year.
I'm not talking about average. There are some people, as you well know, who make $18,000 to $20,000 a year. We're not talking about average. We're talking about human beings who are flying my grandmother to Buffalo, right? Okay, so there are people there living this life, and it seems as if they're in an untenable position economically.
Absolutely not, because there are many other people who earn less money than that, who work more days in these communities, that can afford it and do it responsibly.
Low pay and high living costs have created an underground housing market in the airline industry. They're called crash pads. Some regional pilots let us inside their crash pads in a northeastern city if we agreed not to reveal their location.
You can picture a 1 and 2 bedroom apartment with 8, 10, 12, 14 guys in it on, roll-out mattresses and sleeping on the floor, sleeping on the couch, sleeping in bunk beds, air mattresses, waiting in line for the shower.
Well, I had a crash pad in Albany, New York. We had 9 people living in a small 2-bedroom apartment. We had guys sleeping on the couch. They rented the couch. Guys that rented a closet, big walk-in closet. And then you'd have 3 or 4 guys crammed in a little bitty 10 by 10 room. Hardly bigger than jail cells, it seemed like. Sleeping on air mattresses. We couldn't afford to rent our own apartment. We just did not make enough money to be able to pay for that.
The lives of regional pilots may not be glamorous, but they offered young pilots a fast track to the captain's seat. At the major airlines, it took pilots on average 7 years to upgrade from first officer to captain, but not at the regionals.
At Colgan, I upgraded very quickly. Within my first year, I upgraded in about 9 months, if I remember right.
Boy, in 9 months you were a captain?
Yeah.
That's quick.
Almost scary, isn't it?
Flying cheap. Watch online or on air beginning February 9th.